Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel again, and I thank you very much for coming to visit with me. And I have some new people on the channel. I want to welcome you and thank you for coming to join my channel. And if there's anyone visiting today, I'm so glad you came to visit. And tonight I have another video, which is a story time video for you. And this video, I have had this video on my to-do list since I started my YouTube channel. And I have put off doing it until now because I just did not feel very comfortable about sharing this video earlier in my YouTube journey. Some time has passed now, and I feel like the Lord has laid it on my heart that I should share this video, and that's why I'm going to be talking about it tonight. But just please be aware that it is very uncomfortable for me to talk about this. You can tell I'm already squirming. As I have told you in previous videos, I've been married more than one time. And in this particular time, I had married a man who had two children of his own. He had full custody of them. So they lived in the home with us. I had one child, my son Alex, so he had a stepfather. And there was a lot of friction in the family, being a blended family. We did not get along at all. I didn't get along with his children, and he definitely didn't get along with my son. And looking back on it now, I realize that during this point in my life, I actually was in a deep state of depression. Now, I didn't know it at the time that I was living through it, but as I look back on it now, I can see all the signs of a person living in depression. I was sleeping all the time. I shut myself off. I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to interact with anybody. There was a little room off the back bedroom, kind of like a little closet area that had a door on it. And I would spend most of my time in there, sitting in a chair and or sitting in a chair sleeping, or just sleeping in the floor. And then the next day when the kids would get up and go to school, I would get up and go, after they left and my husband had went to work and everything, I would get up out of that little room and I would go get in the bed and go back to sleep. And I slept all day. It was just a very depressing time, and I didn't know it at the time, or I probably would have sought help, medical help for it. I just thought that it was, I don't know what I thought it was. I just know now that I was in depression. But during this time of being married to this man, there was a violent, I don't even know how to describe it, situation came up between him and my son that was violent. And after the episode ended, I had a car, and I got in my car, and I went to the office where we were actually, the whole family was in counseling, because we were trying to work through our problems, but it didn't seem to be helping. So I went to the office to talk to the lady there who was the therapist that was counseling with the family. And I told her what had happened between my husband and my son. And she told me, you need to immediately leave the home. And I'm like, well, I don't have no place to go. I mean, who would I stay with? And she said, don't worry about that. I'm going to give you an address of a place to go. I will call and make an appointment. You need to just go right now. Just go with what you've got. When you get there, they'll have clothes and supplies and things to give you to take care of you. So she called to a town that was about 50 miles away from where I was living, and she got me set up to go into a women's shelter. Now, I had never been in nothing like this before, and I didn't realize really what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to have to live there for the rest of my life or what the deal was. But when I went to the women's shelter, the lady there already knew about my circumstance because they had called ahead. And they have a lot of rules and things I've learned in a women's shelter. There's women there that have came from abusive marriages. Some of them are going through divorces and don't have any place to stay, and they go there. It's kind of like a transitioning. There was one lady there that I'm surprised they didn't tell her that she needed to leave, because she actually wasn't in any kind of danger in her life. She had a boyfriend that she was getting along with. In fact, she would leave and go and spend the night sometime with her boyfriend. But she was basically staying at the shelter just to save money because you didn't have to pay anything to stay there. It was totally free. So she was basically staying there to save money. I guess maybe she was going to find a home or a house or something. But anyway, they let her stay. And so I made friends with one of the ladies that was there. I was pretty much the only one that had a car because a lot of them women, they're just, the police bring them there. It's that bad. So her and I, and you were allowed to leave. The only rule was when you left, you had to sign out at the time you left and when you thought you would be back. And her and I could leave and go to the grocery store and take the kids to the park or the movies or whatever else we wanted to do. And sometimes we did leave and go places. Um, they had a curfew there where you had to be in by 9 or 10 o'clock. I don't know what would happen if you try to come back after 9 or 10 if they wouldn't unlock the doors and let you in, because there was a button out there that you had to press to buzz you in, because the doors were locked on account of the assaults and violences against the ladies there. But they had a schedule there that you had to follow. You went to bed at a certain time and you had to get up at a certain time. You had to be up by 6 o'clock in the morning. So they would come into the room and they would wake you, and you were to wake your children up. There was 2 bedrooms in the home that I was in, and there were several beds and a baby bed in the bedroom that I stayed in. And me and my son slept in a twin bed. And the lady that I was friends with that had the 3 children, she and all 3 of her children slept in a big double bed. And like I said, there was a baby bed, a crib in there for anybody that brought little babies. So they would come and wake you up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you had to get your children up, get them dressed. Then we would go to the kitchen and we had to prepare our own food. Now they did allow you to get food stamps. You could sign up for food stamps while you were there. And I don't know how this worked out. The county must have had some kind of arrangement with a home. But you were allowed to sign up for food stamps, and you didn't have to include everybody that lived in the home. Because some of the women that were staying there did have jobs that they left and went to the jobs. But you didn't have to include their income. So I was allowed to get food stamps from me and my son. But they also had food in the kitchen. So you would fix the breakfast, feed the kids, then we would wash the dishes up. And there was a chore list that each day when we got up, we had certain chores that we had to do. There was a library room. There was a piano room for anybody that wanted to play the piano. There was a TV room, had a TV, no VCR, no DVD. It didn't even have cable. It just had a few channels on it that you could sit and watch. And so after we did our chores, whatever the chores was, the chores were like cleaning. There was 2 bathrooms, and the house mother had her own bedroom with her own bathroom, but there was 2 bathrooms in there for the residents to use. It was like clean the bathroom number 1, clean the bathroom number 2, sweep and mop the kitchen floor, dust the library, just things like that. So after you did the chores, you were allowed to pretty much watch TV or play games or do whatever you wanted. There was a fenced-in yard that we could go out and play with the kids. There was a swing set and some little plastic toys and stuff out there. And then when it came time for lunch, we had to go in the kitchen and cook the lunch. Same thing, wash the dishes after you were done. And then you had free time until supper, and then you would fix supper. Now, I think the bedtime was for 7 o'clock. We were required to put the children in bed at 7. And then the grown-ups were allowed to stay up like till 9 or 10 o'clock, and then we had to go to bed. And all in all, I think that I only stayed there about a month. During that time, my husband was in contact with me. The mail, he sent me mail. I don't know how, I think maybe I contacted him or something anyway. I know that he was writing me letters and begging me to come back, telling me that he would change. He would go to counseling and he would work on it. His main problem was he had anger management. He had a problem with my son, but he also had a problem with his daughter. He got along fine with his own son, but he actually was abusive to his own daughter, and he was abusive to my son too. So he was begging me to come back, telling me that he would get counseling and he would change. And Alex was really missing his school friends. He was in school, so this was during the summer, and school was fixing to start back. He missed his grandma and his aunts and uncles, and he wanted to go back home. So we worked things out where I would come back to be back with him. and we would go back to counseling, and he would go to an counseling company for anger management. So we did come back to the home, and we were there with him quite some time before Alex must have said something on a weekend visit with his dad. I had custody of him, but he was allowed to visit his father, and evidently he had said something to his dad about what had happened in the home, because his dad came to me and said that he was taking me to court and going to sue for custody. And he said, it's not you, it's nothing that you've done. I know you're a good mom and you take care of him. He said, it's that SOB that you're married to. Alex doesn't like him. Alex doesn't want to live there, and I'm not going to make Alex stay in that. So during the course of that, we ended up going to court. And to keep from hashing it out in court, there's a big old long story involved with that. I may get into it in a later video. But anyway, I signed over the papers to let him take Alex. And so when I was in the home still with my husband, it was just me and my husband and his 2 kids. And I felt very uncomfortable about the situation. And I told him, I said, I'm going to get a divorce. I said, I only have 1 child. You still got your 2 children here with you. I'm not going to continue to be married to you and help you raise your 2 children and be a mother to your 2 children when you have caused me to lose my only child. So I did file the paperwork and moved out. I told my son to move back home with my mom. So I took my stuff and I did move back home with my mom. And after I left him, Alex was able to come back around and visit with me. But anyway, this video is almost 12 minutes long, and I'm going to go ahead and end this video now, because there's more that I could tell you, but I don't want this to drag into a long thing. And like I said, this is a very, very stressful, uncomfortable time for me in my life. And so I just feel like I needed to share it tonight with you guys. If you enjoyed this video at all, please give it a thumbs up. And I hope you will continue to come back to my channel. And thank you so very much for visiting tonight. And y'all just come back and see me any old time. Bye.